think this is the right microphone. Ooh, all right. Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and I am coming back at you with another Wargaming and miniature live stream. I felt energetic enough to do a live stream. As you know, I'm still recovering from the evil virus. You know what I'm talking about. But I would say that I'm probably at 80%. You know, I'm not 100%, but I'm doing okay. I'm starting to recover. I've got some medicine in my mouth. And I do have a cough. Doesn't hurt. You know, it's just every now and then I'll cough. I've got some things going on right now that I want to share with you. And maybe we can actually do some work as well. 99% of my game area has been revamped. As you know, got a bit crooked camera here because it was set up for the table. But where's the focus? There it is. Okay. So I took a bunch of boxes that I didn't need. I've been saving them, hoarding them, you know, pack ratting them, whatever you want to call, and broke them down, put them in a box, ready to take to recycling. I pulled a bunch of stuff that for years I've been telling myself that I'm going to sell it, but I never do post it on my eBay store. I just, okay, I don't know what's in the way. What is a camera in the way of my face? I don't care. You don't care about to see me. Let's move the mic a little closer. Maybe you can hear me better. But I have a number of things that I've had for a number of years that I've hoarded. Well, not hoarded, just anticipated selling them. And I haven't posted them or sold them. And they've just been taking up space. So I put them I put them off to the side on the table to kind of remind me to go ahead and just post those, get those sold. Basically, I've got I think it's an i7 3770 with motherboard and memory. And I'm going to sell it cheap, you know, $50 or something like that. It's a beautiful processor. I used it for many, many years. It's, I would say it's better than some of the later processors. But it's not going to handle the AAA games today, you know. But it's a good computer if you just if you just need something for the office or something like that. It's excellent. I have a Ryobi uh, It's a saw. What do they call that saw? Um, Ryobi. I want to say circulating saw, but it's not a circulating saw. Um, it's it's a saw with just one blade sticking out. You know, but it has no batteries. It's a wire. It's a wireless, cordless. I should say. It's a cordless saw I got as a free gift from Best Buy. When I used to work at Best Buy, um, you would get rewarded for your tenure. And I got to a point where I got to pick some stuff off the list. I picked that thinking that it was going to come with a battery and a charger and all that and be complete. But no, it's just the saw. So instead of buying a battery to make it complete, I decided I was just going to sell it. $10, $20, something like that. Just get rid of it. I have a stack of CDs that uh, somebody could use to make music or record, save their family photos or whatever. I don't know if anybody uses CDs anymore. I have a CD player in this computer. Um, make your own CDs for mixtapes or whatever. But it's not a tape; it's a CD for your car. But everybody nowadays is using their phone and Bluetoothing it to their car radio and stuff. So I don't know if anybody ever uses CDs anymore. I was going to use them. I thought about just saving them and using them as bases for like generals or uh, a terrain piece or something like that. I've also thought about just putting them in the trash, but I might be able to sell them for $1. You know, sell them for $1, ship them off to somebody. Somebody might need them. Somebody might be looking for them. But there's a big stack. I'd say probably almost 50. Okay. So those things are sitting over there. Odds and ends. But then I found when I was going through all my boxes, because I went through all my boxes, all my plastic tubs, I went through everything and reorganized. Like, I have some tubs with some building materials for like building scratch built buildings, um, battlefield areas, like this was all for like Warhammer Fantasy or Warhammer 40K or Bolt Action or Command Decision or whatever. Basically, I just had a bunch of buildings well, not buildings, but building materials, excuse me, building materials to make buildings, rubble buildings, scratch built skyscrapers or whatever I needed to build. But I had that in like 3 different tubs, and I had like the wood in one, and some plastic styrene in some others, some window material in another, some gravel or whatever in another. So what I did was I kind of took all the wood, put them in one tub, took all the gravel, put it in one tub, took all the window materials and floors and stuff like that and put it in another tub. So basically I organized it. But what wound up happening was when I did these like 20 tubs that I've got in here, that's exaggeration. I don't know how many tubs I have. But when I went through and did all these tubs, I wound up saving space, right? I wound up having about 4 empty tubs. And I was like, wow, how did I get 4 empty tubs? I don't know, whatever. So then I started taking stuff off my work shelf, my storage shelf, I should say, really. And I started putting them in tubs. Basically clearing my shelf off because I mean, I've got a whole top shelf up there that's pretty much empty now. My third shelf down is like 2/3, no, 1/3 empty. And then I've got a whole shelf down here that's just, I just put stuff on there just to get it out of the way. So, but it's basically clear, right? So, why did I do that? Why did I pull these things off the shelf and put it in the tubs? Because I wasn't ever going to be using them, or if I did use them, I could just pull the tub out and pull the. Mainly, it was the buildings, because the buildings were taking up so much space up on the top shelf. Once I put them in the tub, everything else just kind of started falling into place. I took some of the stuff that I had in tubs was stuff I'm never ever going to use. I looked at it and I was like, why am I saving this? You know, it was like a Warhammer building, but it was only the floor. Or it was a some broken balsa wood. And I was like, am I ever going to really use? I mean, I was saving it because you never know when you might need a little itty piece of balsa wood, or you might need a something like a piece of cardstock. I would have a piece of cardstock in there, and I'm like, why do I have a piece of cardstock in here? So I wound up throwing a bunch of stuff away. Well, it's about half a trash bag, but still, by doing that, it allowed me to reorganize these tubs as well. So I saved a lot of space. I mean, a lot of space. Reorganized where everything was on the shelves. But most importantly, I can now get to the shelves. I can get behind my table and I can get to the shelves. Okay. There's a bunch of the point I was trying to get to. And we'll look at it after we talk about what's on the table. But I've made MDF roads and rivers for a variety of different games, different scales, and I've made magnetized, the flexible, I don't care if they're magnetized, but they're flexible roads and rivers for for my 15 millimeters, right? And I made a bunch of trees. If you remember, maybe a couple of years ago, 3-4 years ago, I had a whole series of videos where I was showing you how I build trees, where I would have I would take the Woodland Scenics tree frame, and then I would glue lichen onto the tree and then flock it, and they turned out they're super good looking trees. And I used them for my D&D games, and I've used them for my Bolt Action and Hail Caesar. Took them to the convention, used them down there for like various different Bolt Action battles and stuff. But they're great. But I'm starting to get away. Well, I'm not doing any more role playing in the house. I've totally abandoned the idea of doing face-to-face role playing at the house. I'm only going to do role playing online through like Roll20 or something like that, using like Discord and cameras and stuff like that. So I've totally abandoned the tabletop role playing games. So all my role playing stuff that I own, mainly like miniatures, fantasy miniatures that I can't use for other games, because I play a variety, well, not a variety, but I play a few different fantasy miniature games like Warlords of Erewhon and Oathmark, to name a few. And some of those D&D models can be used for those games. But if I can't, like if I've got this collection of orcs that I don't need or whatever, I'll put them up on my store, which I already have. I put a bunch of them up there. But I've got a whole nother box uh, of figures that I need to. I mean, they're like 90% painted. I need to go in and touch them up and then sell them. Because I just need to clear that out, right? Because I'm not doing any more tabletop RPGs. I've got a couple of tabletop game mats that lay out that's got squares on them for D&D, right? Uh, I don't know if I want to sell those or not. I have them. I'd like to sell them because I know there's a lot of people out there doing tabletop RPGs. But I think I'm just going to hold on to them. And then there's, for now, right? And then there's, I've got all my weapons over there. I mean, real weapons. I've had, I knew where they were. It's just they were hard to get to. In between a couple of my different shelves over there. So I reorganized those, cleaned them up a little bit, and stored them in a better place. So those guys are all good to go. And I can actually, if I wanted to, right now, I could walk over there and grab one, which in the past I couldn't do that. Now, I'm not talking about anything that needs to go into a weapon safe. I'm talking about broadswords, cutlasses, sabers, you know, a variety of different. I've got a ton of weapons right here that I consider my. I consider my favorites or whatever. But these are like not. How do I say that? These guys are collectible. Like I've got a Nazi officer's saber over there. It was an authentic German World War II. I say Nazi because it has a swastika on it, but that's really I wouldn't consider that Nazi. I know people nowadays consider that Nazi, but at the time I think it was just national pride. They were just it was part of the uniform, so it wasn't like the guy was probably a Nazi. He might have been, but because not all Germans during World War II were Nazis. Okay, but we're getting off topic. I have an old Roman sword over there. I mean, it's old, but it's not 1,000 years old. So I think it's a replica, but it might have been made in the 1900s, 1910s, 1920s, something like that. But it's still a replica. And then I've got, but I do have a Napoleonic cavalry saber that is coated in grease and oil, uh, and it's real, man, and it's heavy. Whoa! I was like, wow, they had to carry this, you know. But yeah, I've got a few real weapons over there. I've got a few real ones here, but these are all modern made, but they're still real. Like that broadsword on the third rung down. Um, it was made in like 1990, but it's freaking sharp and it's got a full tang. It's a broadsword. It's just modern metal. Maybe what do they call that? I don't think it's I don't it might actually be that Spanish metal. I'm trying to remember what it's called. And it's also not virgin steel because I have cut someone with it. It was an accident. But yeah. Um oh. Um okay. So what I'm saying is I got all these rivers and roads out, and I'm going to pull them out and see exactly which ones that I want to keep because I think I overindulged. I overindulge a lot. I mean, that's my problem, right, with wargaming. What? Wait, John. John's got some kind of comment, and I don't know why. Didn't show up in my chat bot thing. I'm going to refresh that. Hopefully this works. Connect error. There's an issue. Okay. Where's my Twidget? There it is. It's taking a second to load. There we go. It is taking a moment to load. Something's going on with my chat whatchamadoodly. Oh. URL's changed once they clicked on it. Refresh. Oh, I don't have to refresh. There you go. All right, it worked. It just took a second. I'm glad to find your channel. I only play AD&D right now, but have a homebrew rule set for conducting larger battles in the campaign. I've struggled getting enough miniatures and terrain. Yeah. Hey, John. Thank you for the chat, by the way. Thank you for engaging with me. I don't know. Do you? Yep, the whole message shows. Good. Well, I'm glad you found my channel as well. Let me click off of that. For some reason, it's my computer's like going crazy. Okay, it's maybe me. Hey, John. I don't know if you know this, but I used to play a lot of AD&D. You know, face to face, tabletop, stuff like that. But I also have played a huge number of other role-playing games. I have a Google Doc. I'm going to pull it up. Am I going to pull it up? How do I pull this thing up? Where's my Google Docs? Oh, you bastards. Okay. That's one, but that's not the one. I made a list. Let's see if this is it. Yes. For those of you that are curious, those are all the role-playing games that I've ever played or game mastered. And there's a lot of them in there. Yeah. So I've been role-playing for a long time, as you might be able to see. I should highlight my favorites. Um, yeah, Mega Traveler was one of my favorites. Mongoose Traveler did a really good job with it. What's a good green here? I don't know. Okay. Well, John, you're asking me what my thoughts are on Commando. Well, to me, Commando's not really a role-playing game. Um, I know it's listed as a role-playing game, and I think it's on my list, right? Or did I? Oh, yeah, I put it right there. Yeah. It's to me. Okay, it's very fun, and your character does improve, but it's not really a role playing. World War II games, I don't really consider as role playing games. I don't know, I'm biased. I think of them more like a man to man skirmish game because, yes, you can have a game master and he can run like the sentries or whatever, and you as a player and you as a player party, like maybe you've got 3 or 4 guys playing, you guys could be a commando team that have a mission to go blow up a bridge or have a mission to go rescue a dignitary or something like that. But it's very episodic. To me, it felt like it, it was very. I liked the mechanics. The mechanics of the game was very good. The It's SPI, right? It's an SPI game, and SPI to me at the time when SPI was really big, and I was big into Avalon Hill and SPI. SPI was too complicated for me. I was a young whippersnapper, but I felt like it was more of a miniature war game and not really a role playing game. But that was me. Now they've got a new version out now. It's not SPI. It's double O double lot or something. It's basically O Dark 30 or double zero midnight or so. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's a 28 millimeter miniatures game that you and your friend would play. You would play the commandos, and they would play the sentries, and you would go on a variety of different missions. It reminds me of Commando. And you're also asking which edition of Top Secret. Um, well, Top Secret, I only played it once or twice. I didn't own the game. I was actually the player, and the game master wasn't very good. I'm gonna have to admit. I liked him. He was a nice guy, but when it came to running a top secret game, it it was probably first edition. It was a long time ago, so it might be first edition. But it was he had information, right? As a game master, he had information. I remember those games pretty thoroughly. We only played a couple of them before everybody dropped out. He had information that uh, he thought was common knowledge because maybe that's the way the module was written, or maybe that's the way his mind works. But he thought it was common knowledge. And when it came to when it came to running it, he assumed that we knew this common knowledge, which none of us did. It wasn't very common. And he assumed we knew how the spy system worked. And we didn't. And he didn't give us any clues or heads up saying, this is how it works or anything. He just assumed we knew. And we kept running into roadblocks and stumbling blocks which we couldn't get past, and we didn't know why. We were all getting frustrated, and he was just not giggling, but you could tell that he was like, man, I can't believe these guys don't understand what's going on. It's so obvious. But to us, it was like it was not very obvious. And so that game fell apart quickly because of that. And the storyline was we were in England or something like that, and we were traveling to the south of France by boat. And then when we got there, we had to go through customs and everything, and we didn't have any guns or weapons or we didn't have our PPK or whatever we would have, but apparently there was somebody there that was supposed to pick us up and take us to a safe house or a someplace where we were going to get our weapons and stuff. But we didn't know that. And so we were stumbling around, trying to figure out what to do and how to get a gun and stuff like this. And then we found a clue in an alleyway somewhere. This might be out of sequence, but we found a clue in an alleyway, which was a cigarette butt. And to me, I'm thinking, that's not a clue that I would, as a top secret, CIA, MI5 or whatever type of agent, I wouldn't think of a cigarette butt as a clue. But apparently it was a clue. And the clue was it had a stamp on it, and the stamp was H&W or something. I don't remember, but it was H&W, and it was like, okay, I don't know what any of that means. Oh, and by the way, this was before the internet that I played Top Secret. This was high school. No, it might have been right after high school. Might have been high school. I don't remember. But I didn't have the internet in high school. So, because that was I graduated in 80s, 81. The I had no idea what H&W was. Apparently, it's some kind of name brand, and I don't care personally, that this name brand is, it could have been Cools or Marlboro or whatever. It didn't matter to me because, first of all, putting that cigarette as a clue it wasn't a clue for me. I didn't envision it as a clue. No, none of the other players thought of it as a clue. And when the game was basically abandoned, he went back and explained, like, this is what could have happened if you did this, and this is what could have happened if I expected you to do that because of this. And we all said to him, how are we supposed to know any of that? Excuse me. Okay, my Twidget is got a delay, but I see it in chat. It says Justin Alexander, the Alexandrian, recommends using redundant clues to avoid dead ends in investigations. He calls it the three clue rule. Well, I don't know any of that. Top secret, just wasn't my bag. I'm not really into the whole spy thing. I was only playing it because my friend wanted to run it, you know. I have first and second edition Top Secret, but I haven't played it yet, apart from a quick common playtest. When he can be very lethal. We don't know. We never got into a fight or anything. We were just still in the process of getting set up, and I wasn't a big. First of all, I'm not a very big spy fan, right? I'll watch a James Bond movie or whatever, but it's not my thing, right? And then I'm not at all interested in it, really. But I was willing to play this because my friend was running it and he wanted to run it. So right there, before anything got rolling or before we made characters or anything, I was already biased against it, right? And this is me self-reflecting back at the day, and then with it being hard on the investigation because I'm not into any type of investigation type gameplay. If I was, maybe I would have become a private investigator, but no. I This wasn't my thing. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. And I can close that. Okay, so now before we get going, really, I just wanted to touch on a couple of new things that, you know what, I'm going to hit my Twidget and I'm going to refresh it. If I open the Twidget itself, it's not refreshing. I wonder why that is. Is there a refresh button? Because the last thing on my Twidget shows which edition of Top Secret did you play? And that's a long way. That's a couple of chats back. Okay, so I have a feeling that chat Twidget provider or whatever it is struggling. So try again. Okay, it's loading. Okay. So I don't want to have to reload that every time. Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there. Okay, so let's move that out of the way because I want you to be able to see the screen I'm about to show. I've got two pieces of news that I just wanted to touch on. They're not, super important or anything, but this is the Old Glory website, Old Glory 15s, and they have a pike and shot sale going on. It started yesterday. And so you basically get an additional 10%. Remember, they also have a discount code right here, which is if you order between 1 to $400 almost, you'll get 20% off. So if you order $100 of this pike and shot, you'll get 30% off. So that's pretty awesome. And then if you order over $400, which is quite a bit, you'll get 50% off, which is an outstanding deal. So I just wanted to show you that there is a pike and shot sale. I'm not into pike and shot, okay? But they've got some samurai lines in the pike and shot sale. Okay, the pike and shot. Yeah, Koreans, Chinese, Renaissance, Samurai, Italian Wars, 30 Years' War, and English Civil War. So if you're into any of those eras, you should jump on that. If you're into that. And then the last one, I've got quite a bit to say, but I'm gonna probably have to hold my tongue. But let's look at Wargames Atlantic, right? Wargames Atlantic make beautiful models. Okay, they're box sets. They're not expensive. They are easy to assemble. They're highly detailed. They're good quality plastic. I really like them. So Wargames Atlantic is a partnership between some Brits and some Americans, the Atlantic, right? And they've formed a company, and they make some really good models. But their line is scatterbrained. It's like all over the place. They might have one box of this, and then they might have 6 boxes of this. I'm talking about like genres or eras. And then they've got some boxes for things that are, in my opinion, fringe, right? They've got some fringe items which I just can't wrap my head around. Why? Why are you investing money in this? And investing time and effort and molds and paying the artists and the company to make it's just like, why are you investing half of your company into this junk when, if you were to take that time and effort and put it into this other thing or these other things, those lines would be fleshed out and people would be like, oh, nice. I understand it's a fairly new company and they're gradually growing, and they're not going to listen to me. I'm just one crazy kook out here, but just as an example, okay? British SAS and Commandos, awesome models, great. People need these. These are great for those World War II bolt action gamers or whatever. And these Landsknecht ogres, those are pretty cool. Anything that's fantasy is kind of cool. You got all different kinds of cool models. And then Tommy's, they're coming soon, right? It says they're shipping now. I don't have any of those in my store. I might have to order some. But yeah, World War I models, yeah, I think those would be pretty sweet. But now, okay, right here, the grognards. What the hell? This is a stupid line. It's the most ridiculous. It's okay. It's for something called, their line is called, stop. It's called Death Fields, right? And so, like, this is the Grognard's pack, and this is the Command and Heavy Support pack. Why do you have French, Napoleonic, Old Guard, the Grognards, in armor with laser rifles? That is just stupid. That's the most. It reminds me of. It reminds me of. Um, what was the name of that game? Mutant Chronicles. It reminds me of that, and that's just a stupid concept, guys. Don't invest money in that. It's just ridiculous, in my opinion. And then you scroll down a little bit and they say bestsellers, the Grognards. Sure they are, right? German infantry, Great War. Okay. World War One, cool. Halfling militia. Okay, I can dig that. You don't get a whole lot of people out there making enough miniatures for halflings to make a whole unit. And these guys, they do really good. And they got skeletons and they've got goblins and stuff like that. So their classic fantasy looks good. Their Great War looks good. Their World War II, I can't believe, view all bestsellers. Okay, let's click that. Okay, spiders, conquistadors, French resistance, Panzer Lehr. The Oorah? No, I can't believe that to be true. I think they're lying. Or because it's brand new, maybe it's brand new, people are buying them, or they're buying them for their Warhammer 40K games. Because they almost look a little bit like Imperial Guard, right? So I could see that. People are playing them with their Warhammer 40K or their Necromunda or whatever it is, right? But these guys, come on. What the hell? Just stupid. Okay. So this is what I was wanting to get to, was this Vox Populi. This is a great idea for Wargames Atlantic. This is asking their customers what they want to see from their company. I think that's really good. And there was a couple of things I voted on. Mainly it was 15 millimeter plastic Napoleonics. Does anybody know, and if you're out there in the chat world, or if you're watching this later on demand, are there any companies out there that make 15 millimeter plastic Napoleonics? I don't think there is. I would almost, if I had money, which I don't, but if I had money or a business model or a plan, maybe I could go get an investment. 15 millimeter Napoleonic would be groundbreaking for one thing. And I could write a set of rules, which I already have, marshals and generals. I'm still working on it. It's not finished. Yeah, John says those Atlantic fantasy and historical miniatures do look great, especially the price value. Exactly. Yeah. So if you're looking at like $35 for a pack, you get like 30 models. So it's just like $1.10 per model, which that's great. And they're multi-pose and multi-parts, so you can give one guy a sword and another guy an axe and another guy a square shield, another guy a heater shield or whatever. So yeah, you can mix and match. And all their sets work together with each other, by the way. Yeah, but this Vox Populi, I like it, but I'm going to tell you something. They have a 4-step process. They do a census. They say, is there anything out there that you're interested in us making? And they did ask, and one of the inquiries was, if we were to go into 15 millimeter, what would you like to see? And there were people saying the most stupid things that they wanted to see in 15 millimeter. And I think to myself, like, why do you want to see this? Why do you want to see something that's already made in plastic? I would want to see something new, but still useful, like Napoleonics. Or hard plastic ancients would be good. Or World War II. These are eras that people are into, but if you start talking about, I want to see 15 millimeter subaquatic, merman armies, I'm like, what the hell? Why are you asking for that? That's so fringe. Okay, I'm sorry. And you can see right now, I'm going to cough. Sorry, but I'm still recovering from the Rona. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down, and these are some things that people are voting for. Early war British. Okay. I like that. That's a good one. Cannon fodder command? What? Conquistadors? Somebody probably wants that. German warrior, if it's like Dark Age. But it says army builder. I don't know what that means. I thought it meant that you would get the army list for the program Army Builder, but I think this is like the start of an army is what they're trying to say. Halfling cavalry, I think that's pretty cool. A chariot. Spanish infantry for Napoleonics, okay. What the hell? Raptor cavalry. It's very fringe, very niche. Warring states. But then you see it's got a what state? What's a warring state? It says First Empire, so that's telling me like ancients. I don't know what the warring states are. And what is this? Einherjar Command and Heavy Support. They're really going deep in this Death Fields, which, if Death Fields had a game that went with it, and it was popular, and then the Death Fields miniatures came out, it would remind me of Warzone. Not a very popular game. Okay. Indian Mutiny. How many people really need Indian Mutiny? And these Franks? Okay. And you can see, look at that. That's got the most votes. Okay, I understand that. But how does that have the second most votes? That's ridiculous. It's stupid. And then what will be added in the next edition? Bulldogs. What the hell? That's more of that Deathfields crap. The Hotchkiss and the... where is it at? The Maxim. I get that. World War I machine gunners. If you're going to start really digging into World War I, okay, do that. Treemen and Trolls and Skeleton Cav. That's cool. That adds to your fantasy line. Now, if these are really Napoleonic Old Guard and Napoleonic Russians miniatures, I think that would be a really good addition to their Napoleonic line, because they've only got like 2 boxes. Prussians and 95th Rifles. Napoleonic camp followers, okay. Unarmored late Romans, okay. So like 75% of Great War Japanese, okay. 75% of these are good. Some of them are stupid, like this Iron Core Valkyrie. What? Okay, now that's ancient. That's ancient Greek. Macedonian Greek warriors. I'm gonna have to. That's a really good one. I might vote on that one. But these are all 28 millimeter. Hey Kraus, thanks for joining us. I disagree. You say okay. What am I trying to do? Trying to get rid of this off my screen. There we go. Yeah, you say that the Warlord Games has epics. Their epics aren't 15 millimeter. They're close. Yeah, they're 13.5, I do believe. I do 15 millimeter Napoleonics. I do like Old Glory and Essex and minifigs, stuff like that, right? And okay, hold on. Where's my mouse pointer? Boop. And those guys are all pretty set. And I grabbed a couple of packs of officers for from the Epic. A couple years ago, I went to a convention, NashCon, ran some battle group, but I was curious to the size of these models. I've looked at a bunch of different YouTubers that have done reviews of the initial sprues that they got out of either War Games Illustrated or whatever. And all of them say that they're not 15s, that they're like 13.5. And I was like, well, that can't be true. You know, they're maybe they're a little large, or maybe they'll work side by side. You know, I figured, who knows? Maybe the variance is not so great that it's a big deal. So I grabbed some officers, French, British, and Prussian, and I compared them to my 15 millimeters, and they're not too bad. They're Because they're officers and they're usually off on their own base, like as a general or whatever, the disparity in the size is not that big of a deal. But then when you take the epic infantry, like French line or whatever, the difference is night and day. I looked at them and I was like, oh my gosh, they're so much smaller. Plus, they're shoulder to shoulder. They're overlapping. You know, they have a sprue of 10 guys, all as one big block, and you put them on a 60 millimeter base, and putting 10 guys on 60 millimeters just tells you, without even thinking, they're smaller than 15s. You know, putting 4 guys on 40 millimeters should be fairly tight. So 60 should really only fit like 6 or 7 models. So I tried 10 millimeter, and I tried, because I thought I was going to play Epic for a short time. Then I realized it's black powder, but on a much larger scale. It's not. I love black powder. Black powder is a good game, but a black powder infantry unit or stand is 40 millimeters wide, where in Epic it's 60. So you're thinking Epic is smaller, it's going to fit on a smaller table. No, it's reversed. They're smaller figures, but the battles are on a bigger scale. That's why they call it Epic. It's epic. It's not epic because it's small. It's epic because you get bigger battlefields. Which I'm okay with smaller miniatures, but they didn't go 10 millimeter, and they didn't go, because 10 would have been fine, and they didn't go 15 millimeter, which would have been even better. They went somewhere in between, which they made it bespoke. And if you want to play their game, you have to buy their miniatures. I hate that. I hate companies like that. Games Workshop, you know. Okay, so let me get back on track. Thank you all for coming out and chatting with me. I appreciate all of you. And hey, Kraus, I have seen probably 4 or 5 of your videos where you highlight your armies. I love them. I can't wait to see a lot more of your videos. I just watched one which was on, I think, your Imperial Romans, and how you mentioned you like Hail Caesar. Okay, that's great. I love Hail Caesar as well. I recommend that maybe you pick up a copy of Meg and just take a look at it. Excuse me. I like it a lot. I like it immensely. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about what I got on the table here, and then I'm going to jump to I'm going to grab this camera, I'm going to move it over to the table, and we're going to talk a little bit over at my gaming table. I know I've been on here for an hour already, and I haven't really said anything. But that's okay. I'm here with you guys. And I know there's nothing else on Saturdays. So, and if you're home painting your miniatures or or building models or whatever, you'd like to have something playing in the background. Okay, so as you all know, I like range rulers, movement sticks, or whatever to move my troops. And these guys I made, excuse me, I don't know why or when, but it looks like they've got 2, and a 1 inch. So I'm going to double check this because I don't really know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, these are 7-inch, or at least that one was. But they're bigger than 7 inches. That's what she said. No, so I don't. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger than 7 inches. I doubt if they grew. So maybe I just had bad measuring skills. But no, this is more of a, not a, yeah, it's not a millimeter kind of deal. So these are just whack. But as you know, I made a bunch of range rulers for Meg, and I can always make a few more. Or not, just leave them there. Okay, so when I was going through all my boxes, if you remember, I said I was cleaning up. Go for it painting. Hey, go for it. How are you doing? I'm doing well. Thank you. I hope you're doing as well. I found in one of my, or in multiples of my tubs, I had all these mechanical pencils and vis-a-vis and Sharpies and pens and ridiculousness. Yeah, I even found my little M1 Grand Initiative marker for, what's the name of that game? Tide of Iron. Yeah, so I'm going to go through all of these and see which ones still have lead in them and see which ones don't, and ink in the pens and stuff like that. But some of these Sharpies are colored, like there's a green one. But I also have like gold and silver and stuff like that. So this is a huge find. Look at that, a big pen. How many of you remember those guys? Okay, so I don't know why I've got this on here, but I'm going to go through them and make sure they still have ink in them and stuff like that. But in addition to that, I found all these paintbrushes. They were in one tub, locked away, hidden away, and I'm going to say some of these paintbrushes are like 20 years old. Some of them are in good shape. Some of them are not. Like this large dry brush. He's seen better days. But what I'm going to do, because I've got this brush cleaning technique that I've developed, what I'm going to try to do is reconstitute all these brushes. Let's stick those in there just to get them out of the way. Yeah, so I'm going to reconstitute, or at least try to reconstitute some of these brushes. And some of them look like they're still in really good shape. They just need to be cleaned, and the bristles need to be pointed and stuff like that. There's like this Citadel standard brush. It's still soft bristled. So I'm gonna go through some of these and try to figure out if I can save them. If I can't, because as you can see in my little turntable over here, I've got a bunch of brushes, and some are old and can't be reconstituted, but I've been holding on to them for some stupid reason. Like maybe I'll use them for like work that I don't need precision, or I want like spackling or something like that. Sometimes I'll use a paintbrush for applying glue or a texture paste, and those not so good brushes are the best ones for that. Okay, so that's that. The only thing left that I've got for this first part of my commission is a German platoon, a Russian platoon with their bases, and 4 T-34s. So once I get these 4 T-34s done and this infantry based up, because these infantry I plan to base them up before I prime them and paint them. A lot of times I will go for it. Says hit the thumbs up. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. The a lot of times what I'll use is a popsicle stick, and I'll mount my 15 millimeter figures all along here, and then I'll paint them up, and then I'll glue them on a base. But I only really do that with my Napoleonics and my Ancients. When it comes to the World War II guys, 99% of them I put on these Flames of War bases, and the Flames of War bases keep them spread out enough that I could go ahead and do that. I can go ahead and glue them onto the base and still be able to get a lot of good unimpeded painting on those bases. So yeah, I'll base them, glue these together, base these guys, and that'll complete the Clash of Steel starter set, because I've already got the, what is that, the IS 122 or something like that, and this is what, the IS2, yep, IS2s. I've got both of those finished, and the Germans, I've got 4 Panthers, 2 Panzer IVs, a Jagdpanzer IVs, and 1 Jagd Tiger. So those are part of the Clash of Steel starter set. And so once I get all those done and I get that all painted, I'll get that shipped off to my commission, because this is a commission that's been postponed a couple of weeks because of my COVID. I didn't want to paint. I still kind of don't want to paint because of my shakiness. If I don't get enough breath, I start to get a little lightheaded. But over the last couple of days, I felt like now would be a good day to start doing work, because of I don't feel terrible. I don't feel good, but I don't feel terrible like I had. Like I've been vomiting and sleeping and dizzy, stumbling around the house, and But now I feel like I can actually get up, walk around, do things. I cleaned up my entire since Wednesday or so. I've been gradually on the uptake. So by Monday, I bet you I'll be at not 100%, but I'm probably getting 1% a day. Right now, I feel like I'm about 85%, 80%, 85%. Okay. Let's talk about those boards that I was going to talk about. So I'm going to move the camera. I'm going to change it to that. Bear with me, guys. We're doing this live. Knowing I was going to do this, I hooked up the camera and the microphone a little bit differently. Okay. So let's switch mics, because right now I got my desk mic. And because I'm walking away from the computer, I might not be able to get all of your chats. Microphone 2. Okay, I think that is good enough for what I'm trying to do. It's hard to see the camera on the screen. Oh. I'm going to the laundry room. Hang on. Okay. Laundry. Okay, you can see the Titans flags up here. That was temporary. Actually, I don't need them. I could just put a blanket up there, maybe, if I wanted. But basically, I did that because I want a backdrop where you can't see all my junk on the shelf back there. That's really why that's there. But I've got 3 flags here that I'm going to hang up. I had to wash them because when I pulled them off the shelf, because they've been up there for over a year, they had quite a bit of dust on them and it just didn't look right. Okay, so let's turn the camera so you can see. Whoa, what's going on with my camera? You can see the shelves over there that I've cleaned up. Okay, this is a flag. Here we go. I guess it goes like this. I don't know if you guys know anything about this flag, because I really don't. But it's a United States Coast Guard flag. And you say, Derek, why do you have a Coast Guard flag? What's up with that? Well, my dad was in the Coast Guard. He retired. He was a pilot. I have another flag here that you all probably recognize. A Frenchie flag. You know, and that's because of my big Napoleonic whatevers. Okay, so I was stationed in Berlin for a while. I don't know if you know that. I was in the U.S. Army. I was stationed in Berlin, and there was a unit of Brits that came through, and we exchanged items, and they had this flag that I was able to trade for, and I could hang this up somewhere and it would look really cool. I like it, but I don't remember what regiment it was. I might have to type this in the Google's motto, because I got the motto. Remember, I always thought that they had like a regimental number on this. It also might even be fake. I don't even know. But the guy traded it to me, and it looks cool. It's got the crown and the whatever else. Now they're a little damp because I just took them out of the washing machine. But I was planning on hanging them up there to disguise now. These guys aren't taped down or anything. They were just held by pressure of the boxes. Yeah, I was thinking about hanging this guy up here. Might dry better if I hang it like that. Yeah, so that's something I was going to do. And then maybe hang the French one beside it, or the Coast Guard one. Basically, the Coast Guard one's an actual flag. It feels like it's not canvas, but it's made of some serious material. I don't know if I should lay it there on that box. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted because that's not really why I brought you guys over here. Hopefully you can hear me. I've got the secondary microphone turned on, so great. All right, so before we get into this, I want to get into this. This is some stuff that I just recently bought. This right here, okay, this felt like it was a gift or a freebie or something like that. But this is my coping saw. First of all, I found my real coping saw. This is not, to me, this is not a real coping saw. This is like a hobby saw handle, right? Where I can take it and just chop and saw and cut using one of these blades. And they all have a best on them, like they're the best. And I'm going to have to pop them out of their sprue, right? Which feels like this is a very, yeah, these are super flexible. Which I guess would be good for going around corners and stuff, but I'm disappointed. Let's just say, I thought it was going to be like a big hand. I didn't realize the measurements. I thought it was going to be a big handle, something to grip onto. And I thought these blades were going to be like this long. And it came like this. $6. So I can't be too mad. And it is specifically designated for hobbies. I wanted something a little bit more substantial, but that's okay. Because I'm going to cut these boards. These are my MDF boards that I just recently picked up. And okay, so this is my Meg. This is one of the pre-battle system sheets to help you like set up your terrain and stuff like that. As you know, Meg has three levels of uh, three levels of um, gameplay scales. So you can play a Pacto, which is a very small, compact, very like DBA kind of battle, and then you could play Magna, which is a middle range, which is kind of it uses all of the advanced rules and all of the large scale battle rules, uh, but it's not as big as Maximus. Now, Maximus requires a full 4x6 table, which that's fine, but it also requires a ton of miniatures. And I noticed that the terrain pieces the terrain pieces for Maximus are giant. They're like 10 up to 10 base widths. A base width is 40 millimeters. So that would be 400 millimeters, or approximately 16 inches. So you're playing with terrain pieces that are like this big, and I don't want that. I never did want to play Maximus anyway. I thought that Maximus is just too many models on the table. It's more money to invest to build your army, etc., right? So, but Pacto is playing like a travel game. It's like super small units, like 2 stands is considered a whole Roman legion. And I'm like, no, I want to play in the middle. Magna. So the terrain is down here. It says Magna sizes and distances are reduced to 2/3 rounded up. Okay. That doesn't have anything to do with the actual playing, just the size and placement of your terrain is 2/3 the size. The battlefield is also not 6 feet, it's now 4 feet, right? Which a 4x3, I think, is what the Magna is, which that's great. That means I'll have a couple of feet on the end to place my armies and extra pieces of terrain, dice, charts, tables, whatever, and then we can play, or we can do it in the middle and we can have a foot on each side or something like that. So what I did was, with this blue pages, I went through and did the math to figure out what is 2/3 of this and what is, and then I converted the base widths into inches, mainly just so I would know how big the terrain was. And you have 2 types of terrain. You've got a compulsory terrain and optional terrain. Compulsory is usually difficult terrain, right? It's the stuff that, like, you put 2 pieces. One might be a woods, another might be a lake, or you might have which that's impassable. But maybe you'll have a swamp and a forest, or 2 forests, or something like that, and that would be your compulsory terrain. And then optional terrain would be 2 or 3 more pieces per player of things they can just pick out of the just grab and put on the table. And those are a lot smaller. Your mandatory pieces were those 16-inch ones that I was talking about, but the optionals are 8 base widths, right? Which still pretty big, right? So it'd be around 12 inches, something like that, maybe 13 inches. These are 12 by 12s, and these are 10 by 8s, I do believe. Yeah, this is a 10 by 8. And they're different thicknesses. This is a 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter, I don't even know. 2 millimeter thick, and these are 3 millimeter thick, I do believe. Doesn't even say. Okay. Let me open one of these packages up. Interesting. So you don't want to go through here with a knife and start cutting. I was hoping I could just tear it open enough where I could pull a sheet out. Nope, I guess I'm going to have to cut. Okay, before we get into that, I want to touch on these real quick. I got my Caesarian, Republican, Roman, it says Marian Roman shield transfers. I got enough, I think I got enough to do like 10 legions in Maximus. And then I also just received yesterday my Harn World book. I've got 2 of them, and these are all shrink wrapped, and I plan to do a video review of this Harn World book, but this Harn World book is super thick, and it's got what appears to be maybe a map or something. I don't know what this is. GM screen? Something. So, I'm probably going to put one of these on the store. So if you're interested in that, you're welcome to it. I did the Kickstarter, and that's why I guess that's why we're getting to it. That should be enough for me to get one of these out. Okay, there we go. This is 2 of them. Okay. Okay, that's nice and sturdy. This is the 3 millimeter, and I was noticing that the MDF board that I buy at Lowe's is also 3 millimeter. So 3 might be a better way to go. I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and now this is the 2 millimeter, but it's also smaller. It's also pretty sturdy. Yeah, 2mm is just fine for making terrain map pieces. Okay. Whoa. But that should be enough because there's 24 boards here and there's, I think, 8 or a dozen boards there. And then I was going to use this knife to cut really something simple. Just cut little, round it off the edge here, round it off the edge there and there, and make like a, not a circle, but a rounded edged circle or square to build terrain. Now, with the scales for Magna, compulsory wound up being 4 to 7 base widths. 4 to 7 base widths is still pretty big. It winds up being about 6.5 to 11 inches. So these are 12. And these are perfect for that, right? Because this is more than 6.5, and this is more, well, it's between 6.5 and 11, because this is 10 inches. So this would be just fine for compulsory, and optional wound up being 3 to 6 base widths, which comes to about 4 3/4 to 9.5 inches. So 9.5, and these are maximums, right? The 4 3/4 is minimum, and 9.5 is maximum. If it falls somewhere in between, it's just fine. So 12 inches is actually too big for a terrain piece. So I would have to cut at least 1 inch off of 2 sides, right? So I'd have to, when I go to round it, I can actually do a little bit of this, you know, when I make woods or whatever. I don't have to make it perfect. But I was thinking, game-wise, if I'm going to be making terrain for a fire and maneuver game, that's different. But if I'm making a terrain pieces for a mass combat game, where the figure bases and the units represent mass troops, I don't necessarily want a bunch of zigzagging terrain. I want it to be pretty straight so you can line your guys up, or you can define what's in and what's out of terrain. Okay. That's all that. Great. Now I saw a couple of chats pop up. Yeah. All right. See you, John. Probably too late. You probably already left for work, but that's okay. Okay. So, roads, well, in Meg, it's not important, but in my Napoleonics games, it's very important. rivers. Okay, let me get rid of this hornbook. These are heavy too, by the way. These hornbooks, they weigh a ton. Literally, maybe 2,000 pounds. Okay, hopefully you can hear me. If you can't, I'm sorry. See, I can get behind the table. I don't know, maybe you can't see that, but that's okay. Now, if you see this thing popping up right here, I slid a piece of the MDF underneath there, and it looks like it's a little warped. Basically, I put it there for storage. Okay, let me start figuring out what we got here. Not only are we going to figure this out. Oh, yeah, okay. I remember what I cut these out for. These were going to be for my Quatre Bras game. This is the creek. And you notice how it's on that 3mm MDF. Oh, so I made this creek. Let's not use the road. I made this creek, not this creek. Yeah, I guess it's a creek. In hard MDF. Right? Interesting. Okay. To match up with this water feature, right? Because, and you can see, maybe if I dusted it off, you can see I did the whole water effects and everything on it. Yeah. And I've got specific angles on some of these so that it would fit exactly the way the water should fit for that Quatre Bras game. This being the end. And I don't remember which pieces went where. I made a ford right there, but there's gaps like that, and then the bridge would just go there. It wouldn't be there with the bridge sitting on top. I made it so that the bridge could fit, or the roads could fit like that. And there was a secondary end, right? And I ordered these from War Bases because I needed a Y, and I just wanted to see what their river system looked like. I never did anything with it. And I was going to make a Y piece because the creek goes up to the lake, and then there's like an estuary or whatever you call it off to the side, and then this continues on. So I don't think I'm going to keep these. Okay, but that is why I made these. Used putty, filled them with the liquid water or whatever it is. Actually, it's a water texture paste from like AK or Vallejo or whatever. I don't remember. So those might actually go up for sale, just as generic river pieces or something. So I went through a bunch of phases. Okay, here's some roads that are on plywood. These three are, yeah. And this one's actually on plexiglass. I think I bought that. I don't think I built, I know I didn't build it. Because I would never put anything on plexiglass, but somebody did, and it looks fine. Okay, so, and I don't think I don't remember. Maybe I made these, maybe I didn't. And then these are MDF. These are MDF roads. I don't remember how big they are inch-wise. I think they're 12 inches. Yeah, they're 12 inches. And this one's got a little bit of an angle to it. Don't remember why that is. I was thinking it's because at the end of the table. But either way, these are all, this one's not 12. That's like 11 and a half. Okay, so there's a variety. See, that one is 12. So 12 to 11 and a half. Weird. And then I made a Quatre Bras Road intersection. How many of these did I make? Quite a bit. And then I've got a couple of half ones. And he's not even a half. He's like a... Wow. See what I mean? This was way more than I needed, in my opinion. So that might go somewhere. Okay, and then I built some... Okay, let's get rid of these. I'm kind of evaluating what I've got. Okay, and then these are on PVC or PVE, pultruded it's like a foam core, but it's like super dense. I got that idea from the terrain tutor, and I've got a couple of them. And yes, there is some packing tape underneath there to keep it from warping. These were for my bolt action. These are like, or any 28 millimeter game. And this is a plywood version of the same thing. I even went as far as making a four-way intersection for one of my cities, towns, or whatever. Okay. There's a dark one. I actually like the look of this. These all look good, but I do like the look of that one. And then there's a couple more. Some of them I put some greenery on. And see, those would be great for 28 millimeter. And then I also did some 28 millimeter rivers. There's 3 of those. Now with these, I did a little bit of a corner, and I did a piece that could be used as a ford. Or it could be used with this bridge specifically. Fits on there. See how those little bumps, they go right inside there. Yeah, so this little river and bridge ford and everything, 28 millimeter. Okay, I'm not done there. I didn't even talk about this. We're going to talk about this next. This is the one I actually think I prefer, but we'll look at that. Then I made some smaller rivers that I thought, would look good on a battlefield. And these are about 10 inches. Pull this back a little bit. There we go, just so you can see. Okay. And this is my new river system and new road system, which is done on a magnet, right? So this is one road, very flexible. It's very similar in size to one of these, even though I went shorter. I went shorter so I'd have more flexibility, and that I could so if I needed to have turns or something like that, I could do it a lot faster or quicker, because these being 12 inches was just way too long. And as you can see, I'm obsessed with roads and rivers, specifically roads, it looks like. And these all look and feel good, and they're nice and sturdy, so when you put them on the table, they lay flat, especially when if you don't have something underneath them. But there's a little bit of a warping going on there. Okay. So the roads would have to be like reconstituted a little bit because they're starting to roll up. So I'm basically just trying to get the magnet underneath to lay flat. There you go. And then I have the one road that would be sitting in the middle of Quatre Bras, right? Because you got Quatre Bras, and then the road's coming off of it, you know? Now, if I had a piece of metal or something under the table, these would just sit down and they would like clamp down like a magnet, right? Yeah, these are perfect. They're super easy to make. They're flexible, so if I had a hill, okay, I don't have a hill, but imagine there was a hill on the battlefield. You see these will lay however you would like. I could even probably do this, and they will stick together like magnets. But I don't necessarily want to do that. But you can. That one's not sticking. Okay. On a case like that, I probably would stick it. But yeah, it'll like go over any hill you got. So that's great. That's why I did flexibility. Even though you don't really need it, depending, but mainly just for hills. So these are my favorites. I'm going to keep these. FoW. Okay. All right, and then finally we've got these rivers. And again, I built the rivers specifically for bespoke Quatre Bras, right? And for 15 millimeter. And these are also magnetized. On those flexible magnets. They don't really have to be magnets. They could just be, rubber. Another guy I was watching, he puts his on felt, but he still does all the work. It's just felt, which I thought was a pretty good idea. Um, but these magnet sheets were super cheap, so I got these photo magnet sheets. They're peel and stick on one side where you can put like a photograph, and that way if you wanted to put it up on your refrigerator or something like that, you could do that. Yeah. These would have to be like laid out the night before or something. Okay, I don't think I've got an end piece. I do have a curve. I got the Y. But like in Meg, you don't really use rivers unless you're playing a battle, a scenario or something. So yeah, there's quite a bit. I probably still need to make a few more of those for end caps and stuff like that. These were going to be curved roads for Waterloo. That was going to be part of my road system. Where'd my flexible roads go? Right there? Okay. Yeah, so those were going to be part of the Waterloo. Plus, I was basically just making Quatre Bras first, and then I was going to take whatever I had for Quatre Bras and bring it over to Waterloo, and then build additional pieces in Waterloo to like add on, like an expansion set. So I think I'm going to sell these roads. I don't know. I think I want to keep these rivers. I need a 4-foot river. A 4-foot river by about 4 inches. For a secure flank in Meg. And I don't remember. And this is a great, it's not going to be 4 feet. I can just see it already. It's going to be maybe 3 feet. Even if I add that. And I don't want to add that. Yeah, that's not going to be 4 feet. That's 3.5 feet, maybe. These are probably a foot, so it's probably 3 feet. Am I missing one? Because I could have swore I had 4 feet of this, but I might be wrong. Yeah, I could have swore I had 4 feet of this. I think I'm missing one of these. Okay. So maybe I'll sell this too. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just hold on to it in case because it doesn't even go across the table. Even if I tried to go 4 feet, it's not going to go all the way across the table. Oh, wait a second. If I'm playing Magna, I only need 3 feet because it's a 4 by 3. So I don't need a full 4 feet, right? I only need 3 feet. This will work. And that'll secure an entire flank. Okay. That'll work. So I'm going to hold on to those. I'll hold on to these magnets. Maybe get some more. Yeah, and these are shorter. These are like 8 inches. Okay. And these are definitely going to go for sale. So that's for sure. And these I think I'm just going to keep. And I want to keep this lake, but I really want to keep all these because the Quatre Bras, I don't know. I really don't know. These are definitely for sale. Okay, so that's that. All right, so I think I'm getting a little short of wind. Okay, give me just a few minutes. I'm going to go check out my mail, see if we got a package. I'll be right back. Nope, nothing arrived yet. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting a little short of breath. Either talking to you guys or standing up walking around. Okay, finally, before I let you guys go, okay, maybe not finally, but found a couple of tubs of brick walls, fences, picket fences. You know, like stone walls, brick walls. Some of these fences I made myself. Some of them were purchased. Hedges. barbed wire, basically linear obstacles. Now, a lot of this, again, is 28 millimeter. I mean, I think all of it is 28 millimeter. Okay, except for maybe this. I could probably use it for 15. Let's check. Yeah, he could be used for 15s, so I'm going to keep him. But anything that is 28 millimeter, I think I'm going to sell. So if you're looking for some picket fences, or if you're looking for some brick walls or some hedges, or basically any kind of linear obstacle, check the store within the week. In addition, I've got some big hedges. These guys are taller than the guys are. I specifically made those for a game called, what was the game called? Overlord, Operation Overlord. And there was a few scenarios that needed bocage, so I just made these really tall hedges. I'm going to lay them out and sell them as well. All right, not done. Not done. I got three of these. One's a little bit longer. And in here is a ton, and I literally mean a ton, of micro armor. Like there's a opal with trailer or whatever. Basically, I have tanks, infantry, half tracks, armored cars, motorcycles, horses, infantry, and 98% of this, almost all of it, is not painted. It's just primed and put on a base with flock. So some of it is painted, most of it is not. But I think I'm going to sell it as a collection. Might be a few $100. Might be 1,000, just because of the quantity. Because if you take 3 trays of these, it's all World War II, late war, West Front. Okay, we got 2 tubs. These are going to be for sale as well. I know you guys haven't really come to see me talk about this, but I made a bunch of rubble walls. Oh, look at this. A couple more of these roads and curves. They can go there. Okay. So these were scratch built rubble, right? And it was made for D&D. Miniatures, etc. Then I made some serious hedges, right? And this was I had a whole collection of these, maybe 6 feet or something like that. And I had a customer buy them off of me, but he only bought the ones that were not painted. I think he would have bought those if he realized that I had them. There's like a homemade wall. Made a bunch of those homemade walls. Rubble walls. I got some homemade picket fences that are a little bit spooky. Painted some brown, some white. And those were for my Contra Bra game, actually. I was using the picket fences around the buildings to represent the town sector. Yeah, those will all go for sale. Separately, of course. I'll probably sell the rubble as a set, the hedges as a set, the walls, a couple more curved roads. See, I have this listed underneath like farm, because that would be one of the walls for the farm. Yeah. Got some cotton balls in there that are for smoke and stuff like that, and they're getting stuck on my fences. Okay. Now I have this set here from Warlord Games, and it connects together. You can connect walls like that. It's sold as 1/72nd, but Warlord sells it as 28 millimeter. I guess it doesn't matter because a wall is a wall, so it could be any scale, right? But you probably just want to know how tall it is. So you could make a decision if you want it for your 1/72nd or your 28 millimeters. Yeah, I'm really definitely going to sell those brick walls. Okay. Another straight road. All right, guys. Thank you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of organize this off camera and take some photos so that I can put it up on the store. So yeah, within the next few days, those are all going to go up on the store. Not everything. Definitely these linear obstacles. I made a big commitment to switch to 15s. Except for maybe, I don't know. So I'm trying to clear out most of my 28s. Alright, I'll catch you in the next video. You guys take care.